impacting our lives. And I just wanted to convey to you that I think Washington, D.C., you all know that we're not a state. We're often, not yet, we're often referred to as the last colony. And that has had very harmful and detrimental impacts on Washingtonians. However, on the other side of things, this is a very strategic and dynamic place that could play has and can continue to play a central role in the fight for justice around the globe. And I would just request that you support us in our calls for statehood. We're going to need your senators and your congresspeople to support that, so hopefully we'll be in touch with you about that. Because we do need that kind of voice, but also locally as we organize, this is a city where we can get from one side to the other within 10 minutes in a car without traffic. It's a majority people of color city. This is a city where we have access through proximity to world leaders. And so this is a very important place to have an empowered and organized citizenry and to be able to implement progressive policies that can really showcase the nation, be a showcase to the nation. And of course, that's why we've had such oppositions. Because, things like, you'd be maybe surprised to know that things like needle exchange, we've been blocked from implementing these programs by the Congress because it's okay to them to have the worst AIDS rate in the whole nation, but it's not okay to have a needle exchange program, for instance, or medical marijuana, which was also passed by our residents, but we were unable to implement by the Congress. Right now, we're in a crisis in Washington, D.C. We have a mayor who is a complete rogue, who is ignoring council legislation, meaning that when they've said, no, you cannot close the shelter without providing this analysis, he's gone ahead and kicked the homeless men out of the shelter. No, you cannot close the child care services without providing this analysis. He's gone ahead and moved forward with closing the child care centers. So right now, and as well, privatizing the mental health services, closing 23 schools, promising he would not offer those properties to developers, now offering them to developers. And the list goes on and on, even to the extreme of instituting checkpoints in our neighborhoods, which have now been determined to be unconstitutional. At the expense of life and safety in the District of Columbia, we've been giving valuable public land to developers who actually are funding his re-election campaign for literally $1, properties that are worth multiple millions of dollars, like 16 acres on the Southwest waterfront that was given to a developer for $1 a year for 99 years. The same developers that are funding his campaigns, and I'm sure that this is happening in your communities as well. But I do think that this one campaign that we've developed called the People's Property Campaign may be something that could be an inspiration to your communities as well. So we've been able to bring together residents citywide to demand that public property exists to serve community needs. And as long as we have community needs like the need for affordable housing, homeless services, or to create the alternatives that we need as well, community economic development, small business opportunities, etc. This is the land that we have to do those projects with. So we are pushing for legislative change, and we actually do have a bill in the City Council that we hope to get passed this year. Again, with your support, maybe when you're in town, if I have a flyer with me, maybe you could make a call or send an email. It certainly doesn't matter if you don't live here. It's still important to be heard from you. I think I probably won't have a lot more time. So I did just want to tell you that a couple nights ago we had a great rally under the banner of Take Back DC, where we brought together taxi drivers and child care workers and terminated DC government employees, residents concerned about affordable housing and public property. There was a couple hundred of us, but we are in the process of trying to determine what this coalition is going to look like moving forward. And I just submit to you that organizing is critical. Everybody in this room is a leader, I'm sure has exhibited leadership qualities in your life. And making this small leap between being a leader and an organizer, perhaps find some resources to identify how do you bring people together, how do you put together a good agenda for a meeting, facilitate the meeting, make sure that the outcomes are being met, Those are the types of things that we need now to get us to where we want to be. We know that we are the majority, right? So we just need to enhance our organizing capacity, train organizers, build effective coalitions, identify who can do what in coalitions. So for instance, service providers may not feel comfortable leading the protest if they're receiving government money, but they can help us articulate the need that they see every day. Organizing groups like us can be the ones in the face of the city government, and the labor unions can actually be endorsing the right candidates, which we cannot do as community groups. So start to really think about the types of partnerships that we can bring together. And I think somebody talked about at the conference earlier, that in the United States we have a skewed view of what protest is. You know, a lot of our protest takes place on a Saturday or like outside of work, and I know it's hard to leave work and all of that stuff, but we need to look at what's happening in the rest of the world when people protest, like in Iran of late. They sense the urgency, and it's the same urgency that we have here. People are dying just like they are there. So we need to take these opportunities to be strong. What does not kill us is an opportunity to organize. Thank you.
Now tell me that's not a scholar, organizer, administrator. Give her another hand.